Hi, welcome back. It's Steph. This is my third update for Clue Special Panning Edition. This is a project that I created as a Pantastic Ladies collab because I wanted to play a game. It's like the board game Clue. There's suspects, weapons, and categories. And each month we're working on 3 products that fall into the prompts of each category. We would choose the prompt, choose the product, and roll a pair of dice. The dice is the usage goal, and we need to find the correct combination of suspect, weapon, and room to solve the murder of Mr. Body. Truthfully, by now I thought that someone would have managed to get lucky and guess the correct combination, but as of about noon Eastern time on Sunday, which is why I'm filming this, that hasn't happened. So I have a secret spreadsheet that has a solution for everyone participating. Caena is holding mine because I can't play if I know my own answer. And every time someone makes a suggestion, I check it against theirs and I will eliminate one of the 3 parts of their suggestion. And that'll help narrow down who the real culprit is, what they killed Mr. Body with, and where. Even though I haven't solved the murder yet either, this is my best update yet. So I'll just go through what I was working on and what happened. The 3 suspects that I was working on were Mrs. White, Colonel Mustard, and Miss Scarlet. Mrs. White was a carryover from the previous update. I had initially started using this Au Natural Creme shadow in the shade White Quartz. Mrs. White is of course represented by something white, and my initial goal as dictated by the dice was 10 uses. At the last update I had 7. I did get the last 3, so goal met for Mrs. White. For Colonel Mustard, I was using the Lime Crime Electric Slide Shadow Stick in the shade Mega. It is yellow, as is Colonel Mustard, and the dice only wanted me to use this 3 times, and I did meet that goal, so Colonel Mustard, my goal has been met, and he could be used in a suggestion. Miss Scarlet is of course red, and for her I was using the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Heat in the shade Hot Cherry. It's a red lip gloss, and I rolled low on this one too. The dice were pretty nice, and I had a goal to use this 4 times, which I did, so Miss Scarlet could be used in a suggestion. For my weapons, I was working on the wrench, the knife, and the revolver. The wrench is actually a carryover from the intro. It's represented by something that's used to fix mishaps, and so if my eyeshadow gets a little bit out of hand, I'll use something like this Bare Minerals Loose Shadow in the shade Soul. It's ivory and approximately my skin color to blend out the edges. And my initial goal had been to use this 8 times. At the last update I'd used it 6 times. I did use it the last 2 times, so the wrench can finally be used as a suggestion. The knife is a product used to contour. I was using this Illamasqua Gel Sculpt in the shade Outline, and my goal was to use this 8 times, and I did that, so the knife can be used in a suggestion too. The last weapon I was working on was the revolver, and that's a spray. I was using this Way Leave-In Conditioner with the goal to use it 6 times according to the dice, and I did that. There's hardly anything left in here now, and I can use the revolver in a suggestion. The first room I was working on was a carryover from the intro, and it was the library, which is a palette. I picked the Coastal Scents Stylized Eyeshadow Sampler. It's a duo, and I had the goal of using this 11 times. At the last update I'd used it 8 times. I did use it the additional 3 times. Every time I used it I did use both shades, so this and the wrench were competing a little bit because that really pale pink can be used in the same way. But I can finally use the library in a suggestion. Next is the lounge, and that's a no makeup type product. I decided to go with a lip gloss. This is my oldest lip gloss. It is the Maybelline Shiny-licious and Berry Bella. My goal was to use this 6 times, and I did that. So goal met for the lounge. The conservatory was my last room, and it's a plant-based or a plant-themed product. I was using the Hans Skincare Cosmetics 100% natural lip and cheek tint in the shade Coral Hibiscus. This brand advertises that their products are all plant and mineral based, and hibiscus is a flower. And my goal was to use this 8 times according to the dice, and so far I've used it 6 times, so I'm not ready to roll this out quite yet. Every time I've used it as a blush. I like this color better as a blush on me as compared to a lipstick. Alright, so in summary, I managed to finish my goals on all 3 suspects, all 3 weapons, and 2 of the 3 rooms. That said, last month I had a couple of goals met that I couldn't use in a suggestion because I didn't have enough weapons. So I have Mr. Green as well as the dining room. Since I couldn't guess them last month, I can now do it this month. And I did manage to make 3 suggestions. And the first of those suggestions was that I thought it could have been Mr. Green with the wrench in the dining room. And so I put that in the Pantastic Ladies group, and Caena responded, and she showed me the dining room card. So that tells me that it's not the dining room. My second suggestion was that it could have been Miss Scarlet with the revolver in the library. And Caena showed me Miss Scarlet, so Miss Scarlet did not kill Mr. Body. My final suggestion was Mrs. White with the knife in the lounge, and Caena informed me that it was not the knife. So I get to eliminate one suspect, one weapon in one room, and now I get to pick new products to continue my investigation of the murder. Since I met my goal on all 3 suspects, that means I get to roll in 3 suspects. And the first one I'm going to pick to look at is Mr. Green. So for Mr. Green, it's something green. And I'm picking the KVD Super Pomade in the shade Power Green. It looks like this, and it can be used as either an eyeshadow base or an eyeliner. And the dice made up for their kindness this week. So for Mr. Green, I now need to use this product 8 times. Next up is Professor Plum, and he is of course purple. And I'm bringing in this lip crayon. I have no idea what brand this is. The writing's all rubbed off, but it makes a nice kind of sheer finish. And the dice gave me an 8 for this as well, so 8 uses on this mystery lip crayon. The third suspect I will be investigating this month is Mrs. Peacock, and she is of course represented by something blue. And also blue is this Ardencean Modster Manuka Honey Enriched pigment in the shade Peacock. And the dice told me to use this 10 times, so 10 times on this pigment in order to roll it out. For the weapons, I have now guessed the revolver in 3 different suggestions and it's never been eliminated, so that's statistically unlikely. And I'm starting to think the revolver is a smoking gun. That pun was intended, and I'm not apologizing. That said, my way leaving conditioner is getting really low, so I'm going to use a different product so that I can get all the uses on it. And I'm going to use this Prep Rally Prime and Prep Detangler. It's still wrapped in plastic. And my goal is to use this 7 times. The rope is a product that you were roped into buying. And there was a product that I kept hearing great things about, and then a few months ago I was placing alt order. And if I spent another $2, then I would qualify for a gift with purchase. So add to bag. It was the NYX Glitter Primer, and that's my product for the rope. The dice told me that I'm going to use this 10 times, so 10 times on the primer so that I can suggest the rope. And I am going to work on investigating the wrench again, so I'm actually going to continue using the same Bare Minerals shadow in the shade Soul. Hopefully going to do this a bit faster this time. But the dice wanted me to use this 11 times this time around, so 11 uses for the Bare Minerals shadow. For the rooms, I'm still working on the conservatory, so I only get to roll in 2 of those. That's okay. The first room is the billiard room, and that is a product that is finicky or doesn't really work all the time. And I'm using the Hourglass number 28 primer serum. So this primer seems to work okay with some moisturizers, and other times it makes me look really greasy by noon, like today. And my goal is to use this 8 times, so 8 uses for the primer serum. And I'm going to add that this product is way too expensive to be that finicky, so I'm not going to buy it again. And the second room I'm going to bring in is the kitchen. So the kitchen is either a baked product or a product that you could use for baking. I'm going to go with the latter. It's the Mented Skin Silk in the shade Light or Tan. I haven't actually used this to bake, but I'm assuming that you could. And it's still in the box. Here it is. And I actually managed to roll a 12, so I have 12 uses on this powder in order to use it in a suggestion. So there's my update. I did manage to get as much evidence as possible. I will put my clue card up on the screen so that you can see how this is looking so far. The question marks indicate that I did use that prompt in a suggestion. The X's indicate that it was eliminated, and the exclamation points are where I met the goal but couldn't use it in a suggestion yet because I didn't have one of each category available. And so I'm going to keep working on this. I'm hoping to get 2 suggestions in next week. I'm not so sure since I did roll so high this month, but we'll see how it goes. Good luck with your investigations. I hope that this is working well for you, and we'll check in next month. Bye.